Were the Giants one of the teams to check in on Bo Bichette on playing second base? Let's talk about it. It's all coming up on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Alan Stiles. Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area, but I live in Sacramento now. I also host a show at Sacktown Sports 1140, the Alan Stiles Show, as well as emceeing a Sacramento Rivercats games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing those secret anonymous teams that made calls about Bo Bichette, but playing second and third base. We are also breaking down some more coaching updates that have been floating around. And last but not least, Tony Vitello's hiring, quote unquote, insulting. We will tell you who said that and break down whether we agree or I disagree. And I'll give you a hint. I don't fully agree at all. Let's get on into it. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So Bo Bichette is a name. He's supposed to make a lot of money. A lot of these guys are supposed to make a lot of money. But Bo Bichette is a guy who struggled with some injuries this season, showed up in a big way in the World Series, and he opened some eyes because he was not playing shortstop. Now, defensively, Bo Bichette is not, I would say, a lot to write home about, but he is now showing at least some openness to play other positions. Now, look, that was the World Series. That's a little bit different than day to day. He just wanted to find a way into the lineup. But the report was, and I have it for you right here, early in free agency from Jon Morosi. Early in free agency, the majority of interest in Bo Bichette is as shortstop. Other teams with incumbent shortstops, like he's not saying like the San Francisco Giants, but I'm adding in like the San Francisco Giants, have expressed interest in him at second base or third base. So this is from The Athletic. Bichette was leading the American League in hits before he suffered a left knee sprain on September 6th that ended his regular season. He batted .311, .357, and .483 with 44 doubles, 18 home runs, and 94 RBIs, a huge bounce back season after a career worst in 2024. He's led the AL in hits twice in the last 5 years and has a career batting average of .294. He's a below average defender at shortstop. However, and several interested teams view him as an option for third base going forward. His prime years have just begun, and he's one of the youngest free agents on the market. Though he has dealt with several lower body injuries in the past couple of years, as long as teams have a clear sense of the health of his knee, Bichette will have plenty of suitors in free agency because he could be considered a fit as a shortstop, a third baseman, or a second baseman. I saw somebody else say they didn't think he was quick enough to play second base. He did make some nice plays during the World Series. So it's really a matter of where you see him and do you think he could do that day in, day out? Again, you have the World Series, and that's, it's just on a different level. Here are his salary comps. Funny enough, Willie Adames at 7 years, $182 million. Dansby Swanson at 7 years, $177 million. Marcus Semien, 7 years, $175 million. And Matt Chapman at 6 years, $151 million. His best team fits the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Tigers, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Mariners, the Mets. I saw, and his contract prediction, 7 years, $189 million. Look, I saw that Bo Bichette either turned a team down or some story where he basically was saying he only wanted to play for the Blue Jays initially. So that's $27 million a year, by the way. Initially, not recently, but initially, Bo Bichette wanted to play for the Blue Jays. They just tasted the World Series, but didn't get to win it. I think he's probably just going to return back to Toronto unless Toronto doesn't want to pay him that money. As far as the Giants are concerned, I haven't heard anything. It is something that people have maybe whispered about. But again, you have that one last big paycheck. That's how I keep saying it. Maybe they have more than that, but we know they have one more. We just don't know if they're going to spend it on one player, if they're going to split it on two players, if they're going to split it in three ways on three players. But we do know they have the equivalent of, they got more than that, but what we feel like they're realistically going to spend is the equivalent of one of these big contracts, right? So how do they want to disperse it? I don't foresee them dispersing it and giving it to an infielder. I think, and from what I've heard, they're pretty high on Casey Schmidt. They think that his bat to ball skills are really good. I think that he surprised them a little bit at second base and how comfortable he looked at second base. So Bo Bichette, he doesn't have the lettuce anymore, doesn't have those long flowing locks. He's got short hair now, but Bo Bichette and all the aura and swagger that he has, I don't think is coming to Oracle Park. I don't think is coming to San Francisco, but people were a bit curious if if the Giants could have been one of those teams that have reached out to say, hey, would you want to play second base? Would you want to play third base? I don't see it happening. It's just a lot of money. And the injuries, I'm sure he'll bounce back. He is right there, as the Athletic said, getting ready to kick off his prime. But I don't believe, and from what I have heard and what I've been told, I do not believe that the Giants are one of those teams checking in on Bo Bichette. But you never know. These things can change quickly. And if nobody wants to pay Bo this money and it starts to lower a bit, you never know who could be interested. But yeah, I'm not hearing that. I know there are a lot of Bo Bichette fans out there, and he does play the game, I think, in a way that Tony Vitello would love, but I don't see him being somebody that the Giants would bring in at this point in time. It's really hey, it's just the wrong place, wrong time. You know, those relationships where, hey, maybe in another life, if that life was not already taken, we're already in a committed relationship to Willy Adames and Matt Chapman. So that's enough for the Giants right now. On the other side, we have a ton of coaching updates that I want to make you aware of. There was an article out from Pavlovich. Then there was an update after he put out the article. So I want to make you all aware on what is going on there. Don't move. More Locked On Giants coming up. NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout. It's frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. I love zone deals. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, it's cheaper, it's less stressful than any other way I bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go download Game Time today. I have to tell you about my new favorite jeans. My Doers. Seriously, they've changed my life. Right now, I'm wearing the Performance Denim Slim Straight, and I cannot get over how comfortable these jeans are. I've been reaching for my Doers for everything, running errands, grabbing dinner with friends, even heading to the ballpark because they look great and feel even better. Here's the thing. Doer jeans have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim, so you can actually move in them. They're also antibacterial, which means they stay fresh longer, wear more, and wash less. And they're made with Cool Max technology that helps regulate body temperature and wick moisture, so you stay cool and comfortable as the day changes. Honestly, they feel as stretchy as my favorite joggers, but look like I'm dressed to go out on the town. Doer is all about combining classic jeans wear style with athletic level comfort comfort and performance. It's the best of both worlds. They actually pioneered the original performance denim, blending technical innovation with everyday clothing that looks sharp and feels incredible. Simply put, Dewar makes the world's most comfortable pants without sacrificing style. Once you try them, they'll be your go-to pair. Trust me. And if you're in San Francisco, check out Dewar's store at 567 Hayes Street. Pick up a pair for yourself or grab one as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code LOCKEDONSF in store to get 15% off your first order, or shop online at shopdewar.com/LOCKEDONSF for that same 15% off. That's DUER.com/LOCKEDONSF. Your new favorite jeans are waiting. So I want to start here with the newest update, obviously, from Alex Pavlovich. So he initially put out something last night after I posted, but now, and by the way, I'm on his page, and Logan Webb finished fourth in NL Cy Young Award voting. He has finished second, sixth, and fourth over the past 3 seasons. So here we go. Some Blue Jays news. Jays are losing assistant hitting coach Hunter Mense per multiple sources. He's taking a hitting coach job with the SF Giants, reuniting with Tony Vitello. Mense had been on the Jays big league staff since 2022, leaves another hole on their staff. That's from Mitch Bannon, who, of course, covers the Blue Jays for The Athletic. Now, here is Alex Pavlovich. The Giants have spent the past year drafting and trading for young hitters who put the ball in play. It's no coincidence that their new hitting coach comes from the team that led the majors in average last year and was 29th in strikeouts. Okay, so the bat to ball stuff that the Giants keep preaching, that is exactly what they want. And that is exactly what they're going to continue to tell people they're focused on and why they're moving in this direction. So that all just came out. That came out 6 hours ago. It came out earlier today. And obviously, Mitch Bannon posted. Alex Pavlovich is all over it, and we're going to be all over it too. Look, man, this is exactly what the Giants have been talking about. The strikeout stuff, the 3 true outcomes, the idea of time being a flat circle is so true. And now we're seeing that the Giants want to be a part of that. And the 3 true outcome stuff, people are starting to feel, we understand what it is and we understand how valuable the home run is, but you got to put the bat on the ball. And how many times, I'm not going to name names, but how many times did the Giants have a situation where they had somebody on third, they had somebody on second, less than 2 outs, less than 1 out, and they couldn't even get anybody over, and people are sick of it. Pitchers are sick of it. Managers are sick of it. Coaches are sick of it. Ownership sick of it. GMs are sick of it. Presidents of baseball operations are sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. You got to get jobs done. So here's a guy who, again, they were 29th in strikeouts, man. 29th, okay? So they're at the bottom of the food chain when it comes to swinging and missing, meaning they're at the top of the food chain. They put the bat on the ball. Now, when the Blue Jays got to the World Series, they were right there. But again, that says more about, not to get into it, how that defense was played. 9 times, 8 times out of 10, they're scoring, and that's how they ended up being where they were and being first place in the AL East and getting to the World Series. So this is a huge get. This is a huge get. So Tony Vitello, and this is what we're talking about. Buster Posey he's a smart guy, man. I don't got to tell you guys, but he's a smart guy, and he understands, look, sometimes you have to make decisions. And Tony Vitello, and we're going to talk about how people feel about Tony Vitello, but and some of the quotes that have been said, but sometimes it is deeper than simply, do you have experience or not? It's about connections, okay? And that type of stuff matters. So this is from Yahoo Sports. It was only yesterday that Buster Posey indicated Tony Vitello's new coaching staff was still very much a work in progress. 24 hours later, they get Mitch Bannon, and they're able to bring him over. And I'm trying to confirm here. Here it is. Both are Missouri natives, and Mense played at Missouri while Vitello was an assistant coach. All right, this is from the same setup for those Max Scherzer conversations. It was all together. Scherzer is currently the only active major leaguer from Vitello's time in Missouri, by the way. So it was all connected while Vitello was an assistant coach. So Mense has that connection, and he wants to be a part of that staff. That's incredible. That's a huge deal. So that's a get that do you pull him away? If it's not Tony Vitello, if it's one of these guys that does have managerial experience, manager experience, is it the same? I don't know. But Buster Posey knows what he's doing, and he knows relationships. As the old saying goes, that's what my parents always told me. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I think Tony Vitello knows a lot as well, but he also knows a lot of people, and people like him. So that's huge news. Huge news on the hitting coach front. I want to get to the other updates. This is just a breakdown that I have of Alex Pavlovich's article. Tony Vitello and Posey are close to finalizing several coaching hires, and obviously one got confirmed today. Assistant coach Oscar Bernard, we talked about him yesterday, as well as quality control coach Taira Umatsu, bullpen catcher coach Eliezer Zambrano. Ron Wotus will return in his hybrid role, working with the front office, major leaguers, and minor league affiliates. Departures, third base coach Matt Williams informed the team he wouldn't return. Assistant coach Damon Minor was let go. Pitching coach JP Martinez left for the Braves. We talked about that as well. Bullpen coach Garvin Alston won't return. Pat Burrell will stay. We talked about that. The Giants are further along in their search. And obviously, they hired the hitting coach now, but they're still looking for that pitching coach. Okay. Jayce Tingler, that's been out. He's expected to be a bench coach or associate manager. Here's some of the fun ones. Ryan Vogelsong is not in the mix for pitching coach, despite the rumors. So to clear that up, Javier Lopez joins the front office in an advisory role. Mark Hallberg remains undecided as other teams continue to show interest. Catching coach Alex Berg is weighing other opportunities as well. As far as the approach and philosophy, Buster Posey is taking a hands-on role in assembling Vitello's first MLB staff, unlike last year when Bob Melvin chose his own. So it's a collaborative effort, but we understand that Buster Posey wants to put them in as good of a situation as possible. He describes the process as a collaboration between himself, Vitello, Zach Manassian, assistant GM Jeremy Shelley, and VP of Analytics Paul Bien. So there you have it. The Giants are able to lock down a hitting coach, and this is huge. It also leads right into my last segment of the day. As a World Series coach had some things to say, a World Series manager, I should say, had some things to say about Tony Vitello and just the larger conversation of these guys getting hired, as well as a longtime Major League Baseball media member. Don't move. More Locked On Giants coming up. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Last segment for you, and with the news that came out about the new hitting coach, obviously connected to Tony Vitello, it perfectly lines up, and I already had this on the docket for today, but it perfectly lines up with what people have been saying. So let's first start with Ken Rosenthal. So there are some league circles not happy with the Giants, as well as some of these other teams that went with first-time head coaches. So let me read. I don't have the whole article, but I do have some bits and pieces from the article that Ken Rosenthal said that I did want to break down for you. And this is all quotes, and I'll tell you when it's not. Is the fun over now? Are people in baseball done trying to reinvent the wheel with their wildly unconventional hires? Or is the next step for some team to hire a 16-year-old math whiz as their GM? I'm kidding. I think maybe Tony Vitello will make a great manager for the San Francisco Giants, along with Blake Butera for the Washington Nationals, Kurt Suzuki for the Los Angeles Angels, and Craig Stammen for the San Diego Padres. And maybe the reincarnated Paul DePodesta will be who finally figures out how to make the Colorado Rockies a consistent winner. Where is the evidence for any of that, though? All industries should welcome new ways of thinking. Baseball has done a good job of that over the past 2 decades, benefiting from advances in analytics and technology. Yet there is still a risk in trying to be too creative with hires. It's doubtful all of them will work out as intended. What exactly is it some teams want other than to do something different? Beats me, their supposed boldness goes only so far. 9 jobs came open this cycle, and barring a shocking move by Colorado, future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols will not land any of that. He goes on to say Schumacher, Weiss, and Shelton are all getting that second shot, yet with nearly 1/3 of the teams looking, former Chicago Cubs manager David Ross, former Orioles manager Brandon Hyde drew little interest. True, retreads aren't always attractive, but few perceived Ross and Hyde as incompetent in their first tries. Then he goes on to say they could become the next Terry Francona or AJ Hinch, retreads who became great managers in their second jobs. Blah, 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 blah. I don't have a problem with Ken Rosenthal and I guess his larger point, but the reality is there are no, there are no rules in this, and he knows that. Stephen Vogt just won Manager of the Year back-to-back. So obviously this works out sometimes it doesn't. I know that the Nationals hiring a 33-year-old, that sounds crazy. But hey, you got to let people do what they do. There was a time when retreads were really hot. Right now, retreads aren't very hot, so it's unfortunate if right now it's your time to be a retread. And right now, the kind of new look and getting fresh faces and fresh starts, that's how it is too. Same thing happens in the NFL. Same thing happens in the NBA. So we don't need to cry. I think what it is, to be honest with you, is Ken Rosenthal has been around for a long time, probably has a lot of relationships, and he sees guys that maybe, and they got opportunities. That's what's crazy, right? It's not like they didn't get opportunities, but he sees guys that, oh man, they should have got another shot at this, or they should have been able to do that. And he feels some type of way about it because he knows these guys. But the reality is they got an opportunity. It didn't necessarily work out for them, or it did, and their time just came to a close, and they'll probably get another shot. But I don't think it's worth complaining. And, even though he's saying that the situation could work out, he clearly doesn't feel like he wants it to. So I don't know. The whole thing is just ridiculous to me, and it just makes me want to Tony Vitello and all these guys, not the Padres, right? But all these guys to work out, and whoever the Rockies hire, even better. So here's the other note on it. This is from the flagship KMBR. They had on Joe Maddon. Okay, Joe Maddon, longtime manager, a legend in the game. And he says this, here's the quote: "I'm using the word insulting only from the perspective that it appears as though you don't have to have any professional experience to do this job anymore. Having said that, I wish him nothing but the best." Now, when you hear that, it sounds a little backhanded. When you listen to it, it doesn't sound as venomous as when you read it. When I read it and everybody's reacting to it, I don't know how many people clicked on the clip. It did sound, man, Joe, that's kind of sour grapes. When you play it, in my opinion, I understood his stance. If it took you 30 years, I think he said 30, he might even said 40 to get to where he was, right? And he's not a manager anymore, but where he was and the heights that he reached, World Series and all that, I understand his thought process. The word insulting is what's going to trigger people, right? Anytime somebody skips the line, we did this with Steve Nash on the Nets. It didn't work out. JJ Redick on the Lakers is kind of working out in the NBA, and we've seen it before in the NFL as well. So this is something that always comes up. The Giants just happen to be a part of it. And again, I give more kudos to Buster. It could end up not working out, but here's the thing. Retread coaches will always be around. Coaching carousels will always be around. So Buster Posey might not be around if it doesn't work out with Tony Vitello, but you can always go back to the well. So there's never going to be that urgency. And maybe Buster felt like I can go back, whether it ends up being him or not, but retread coaches will always be there. There's always going to be somebody that had some level of success and they moved on from him for whatever reason, right? Right now, Tony Vitello, I think that's what our team needs right now. And as we connect the dots, now we get a hitting coach that maybe we don't get. If it's not Tony Vitello, the connections that he has, Buster is trying to do things a different way, and I applaud him for that. And Joe Madden, like I said, when you listen to it, I got less upset once I played the clip, but the word insulting is going to trigger people, and I get it. When you see how long it took you to do something, right? You know what it is? I got 2 kids, right? My mom says this type of stuff to me all the time. Back in my day, we didn't have bottle heaters or bottle warmers. We didn't have this. We didn't have that. And there's a part of her that thinks, man, that would have saved me a lot of time, right? But at the same time, she's still happy for me that we don't have to spend our time heating the bottles the old-fashioned way and things like that. Joe Madden, he's looking at it as, hey, this is kind of my life's work. And this guy just gets to skip the line. And maybe he's not looking at it like my mom in a bottle and a baby bottle because he's saying that's work I can't get back. But again, and maybe it's the no MLB experiencing at all. When Stephen Vogt does it, how does it feel? When you are doing something never done before, people are going to be uncomfortable, and that comes with the territory. So Joe Madden, I don't have a huge problem with what he said. Insulting is a little strong, but he's welcome to feel how he feels. So I wanted to speak on that. Let me know in the comments whether you agree with Joe or disagree, because I know a lot of you out there, not a lot, but there are some of you that necessarily aren't sold on the Tony Vitello thing. And you can be sold on Tony Vitello and still kind of see where Joe Madden's coming from, and I think that's where I fall. But you go on the Giants flagship and say that, it ain't going to go over well. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @the_Styles File, Styles with an I. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, and we got a good one for you. You don't want to miss it. So we will talk to you then. And until then, peace.